this lecture, we will continue with some more problems on KCL and KVL. So the next problem is determine open circuit voltage Vx, and our circuit is given this one. So this is our voltage Vx which we have to find out, and there are two voltage sources present in the circuit and three resistors, and it is given that current I is flowing through our circuit. So first we will determine the value of I before finding the value of Vx. So we will apply KVL here. We will trace our path from here to here till the ground. So again we will redraw the circuit and we have marked our path. Now we'll trace it. So we have started from here, from negative to positive. Our voltage is 1 volt. Then we are going in the direction of current. So the voltage will come as negative, from positive to negative. The current always flows in the direction of positive to negative. So here the voltage will be in the polarity of positive to negative. And when we go to positive to negative, the polarity which will come is negative, that we have seen in our previous lecture, sign convention. So here -1, then here current I is flowing and voltage is equals to I cross R, and R is 1, so it will be -I. Then we'll move here. Again we are going in the direction of current. The polarity will be from positive to negative. So our voltage will come out as negative, and the resistor is 1. So the voltage is again I into R, that is I into 1 minus I, and that would be equal to 0 as per our KVL. So while solving this equation, we find out the value of I, that is 0.5 ampere. Now we'll find out the value of Vx. We'll again draw one path. So we have taken the inside path which is covering our Vx voltage, which we have to find out. So here Vx is open circuit. The branch here, some voltage is there, but this is not the part of the circuit. It is not closing the circuit, it is open circuit. So the current in this branch will be 0 ampere. So while tracing the path, again it is taken as 1 volt. Then again we are going in the direction of current. So the voltage polarity will be negative. It will be minus I cross 1. The value of I which we have already found out earlier, that is 0.5. So it is 1 cross 0.5 of negative. Then we have gone to this branch. Again we are going in the direction of current. So it will be negative. And the current going into this branch is 0 ampere. So 0 cross 1 resistor value. Then -2 because we are going to positive to negative, so voltage will be negative, and then again positive to negative voltage Vx, so that will be -2 minus Vx, and it is equal to 0. So while solving the equation, we comes out to the conclusion 1 minus 0.5 minus 2 minus Vx is equals to 0. On further solving, we'll get the value of Vx as minus 1.5 volt. So this is our value of Vx, and that would be our answer. So we'll move to the next problem. It says determine relation between V1 and V2. So V1 and V2 two voltages are given, and we have to find the relation between V1 and V2. So this is our circuit given. It has 3 voltage sources and 4 resistors. So first we will mark the current flowing into these two individual circuits. These two are two closed loops and some current will be flowing through it. So first we will find out the value of those currents before finding the relation between V1 and V2. So we will mark the current from our side, that I1 is going into this direction because this is the positive uh, end of the battery. So the current will be flowing from this direction, and from here we have marked our I2 in this direction. So after marking the direction of the current, we will apply KVL, we'll mark the loop and we'll trace it back and we'll find the value of I1. So applying KVL in first loop, we are going from negative to positive, so voltage will be positive. Then we are going in the direction of current, that is positive to negative, so voltage will be negative. The resistor value is 1, so voltage will come out to be -1 I1, that is V equals to I cross R. Then further again we are going in the direction of current, so voltage again will come out as -I1, which is equals to 0. By solving this, we get the value of I1 as 0.5 ampere. Similarly, for the second loop, we'll apply our loop from here to here. So here we are going 1 volt from negative to positive, voltage will be positive. Then we are going in the direction of current, again it will come out to be minus I2, and then again we are going in the direction of current, so again it will be minus I2. So in the similar way the value of I2 will come out to be 0.5 ampere. Now we know the value of both the currents, so we will apply our KVL in the direction where it is covering both the voltages V1 and V2. So this path we will choose, because in this path we are getting both the values of V1 and V2. You can choose some other path, it's not a problem. Any path you can choose and trace through it, but this is the simplest path which we can take. So this path we will be taking, we have marked this path V1 to V2, and we will start tracing our KVL. So it will start with V1, then we are going in the direction of current because I1 is going through this branch, so we are going in the direction of current, that is positive to negative, and positive to negative is voltage polarity is negative, so it will come out as negative. Then 1 is the resistor value cross 0.5 current which is flowing through it. Then here we are going from negative to positive, so the voltage polarity will be positive, so it is plus 1 volt. Then we are going to our resistor value. Now in this resistor you see we are going opposite to the direction of current. Current is coming in this direction, but we are traveling, we are tracing this loop in this direction. So it is opposite to the direction of current. So the voltage polarity will be positive. So it will be positive. Then again we are going till V2. Till V2 means positive to negative, that is minus V2. Then it is equals to 0. By solving this equation, we will get V1 minus V2 plus 1 equals to 0. That is V1 minus V2 is equals to minus 1 volt, or you can write it as V2 minus V1 is 1 volt. So hence we find out the relation between V1 to V2. So in these questions you are seeing we are doing nothing, but just we are putting one path, any path you can of your choice, it's not a problem. Some more equations you have to make, it's not that which equation you have to choose. Just start through any path and start figuring out things. Like in this question we have taken out the values of I1 and I2 first, and then we have taken out the value of V1 and V2, or directly you can first make the equation of V1 and V2, which is the main thing for this question, and then you see what all things required to find out V1 and V2, and then you can make separate equations for that. So this is how we used to make the questions. We used to solve the questions. Now next example is, what is the value of R? So R is the resistor in this circuit, and we have to find the value of R. So in this circuit we are seeing that there is two voltage sources, 100 volt and 40 volt, and the current flowing through these two branches is 10 ampere and 5 ampere. So one thing which we always do while seeing the circuit is, if currents are given in branches more than one, we always first mark the current in all the branches. We try to find out the current in all branches because it will make our question easier. So in this question we are seeing that voltages are given and currents are given. So first we will see how many branches we can take out in which we can figure out what current is flowing in that. So again we will redraw the circuit, and we have marked that 100 volt it is here, so in the whole branch the voltage will be 100 volt, and we have marked it at our node, because whenever we are knowing the value of voltages at the node, it is very easy to apply KCL there. You yourself will see after doing certain questions, it is getting clear to you, okay, this node is given, so it is better to apply KCL, because sometimes this doubt comes when to apply KVL and when to apply KCL. So whenever you are seeing that any node is involved in which you are getting to know the voltage, what is the voltage for that node, it's always advisable to use KCL. And whenever you are seeing that voltages are not, they are far away and there are so many electrical elements like resistors and so many things are involving between, so it is better to put KVL. That you yourself will come to know when you do certain questions, that clarity will come after that. So in this we have marked our voltages. Now here two branch currents it is there, 10 ampere and 5 ampere. So here we have marked it, it is going here. So in the whole branch it will be flowing 10 ampere. Similarly here also it will be flowing 5 ampere. Now this branch you see it is not having any active source element. So the current in this branch would be flowing from these two active sources only. So that means if 10 ampere is going in this branch and 5 ampere is going in this branch, it must be coming from this branch. So from this branch 15 ampere current is going on. So it is very important observation that we are able to mark this 15 ampere because there is no active source present apart from these two, and this branch will not have its any current of its own, so it is only taking current from the other branches. So we have marked the value of current in 15 ampere current for this branch. Now we know the resistor value in this branch, we know the current value in this branch. We will be able to find the voltage for this branch because voltage is equals to current into resistance. So 15 cross 2 is 30. So we will able to find out, we have found out the value of voltage at this node, that is 30 volt. So now we have our conclusions for this, what is given in the question to us. We have our certain conclusions we have drawn from it. Now we will start marking the currents in all the branches. So we have marked the current here, I1, I2. Already in this branch we know 10 ampere is flowing, and I2 is flowing from here to here also. In whole branch it will be flowing. So we will apply, we mark this node as 1 and we will apply KCL at node 1. So current entering into the node is negative. As per our sign convention we have seen in our previous lecture, current entering into the node is, polarity will come as negative, while current leaving the node, the polarity will come as positive. So applying KCL we have seen that minus 10 it will come because it is going inside the node, then plus I1 and then plus I2, and that will be equal to 0. So we will then, with Ohm's law, we will find the value of I1 and I2. Now I1, we know the value of I is V by R. By Ohm's law we know that. And voltage is equals to higher voltage to lower voltage. Potential difference is nothing but the difference of higher voltage to lower voltage. So current always flow from higher potential to lower potential. So in this case 100 will be at our higher potential and 30 will be from lower potential. Now in this case it is very much clear because 100 is higher voltage only and 30, but in some cases we don't know the voltage value. We will assume like V1 and V2, but if you are marking the direction of current from I1 in this direction, then you have assumed that V1 is your at higher potential. In those questions which is it when it is not clear which is the voltage value, so in that case you have to mark current considering seeing the direction of the current in which you have marked it. So current is flowing from like this, so 100 will be at our higher potential. If here it would be 100 and here it would be 30, we purposefully would mark our current in this direction because in this particular scenario it is clear that the current would flow from higher potential to lower potential when the value of voltages are given. So it's not always like that you have to assume the current always leaving the current. Whenever we are marking the current from our side, we have always have to mark the current in leaving direction only. If the value of voltages are given and it is pretty much clear to us that the higher potential is on the other side, you mark it entering the current also, that is also correct. And even if you marked it wrongly, like even if this would be 100 and this would be 30 and still you have taken the value direction of current and this, then also it is not a problem. While solving the question, it automatically comes with a negative sign. Your I1 will come as negative. That means you have taken it in other direction in which it is flowing, and then you will come to know that you have take it in opposite polarity. So in any way it will automatically, the question will flow itself and the result will be clear in the end. So now for this question we'll focus. So I1 is nothing but 100 minus 30 and the resistance value is 14. So 100 minus 13 upon 14, that would be 70 upon 14, and 5 ampere we know the magnitude of I1. Similarly for I2, the higher potential is 100 and the lower potential is 40. So 100 minus 40 and the resistance in between is R. So 100 minus 40 divided by R, that is 60 by R. So that is the value of I2. Then we'll put these values in our equation. So it is minus 10 plus 5 ampere I1 plus 60 by R. So the only unknown value in this equation is our R. So further solving this equation, we will be able to get the value of our resistance R, that is 12 ohm. So like this, by applying KCL, we have found out the value of our R. So we'll move to the next question. This is this is one good question. We'll see it includes your phase also. How to do questions which includes phase. So we'll take phase along with magnitude. We'll see how it proceeds. So the question says, if power dissipated in 6 ohm is 0, then what is the value of V? So this is our 6 ohm resistance, and it says that the power dissipated in this resistance is 0. It is given to us. Then what is the value of our voltage source V? So it is clear to us what we have to find out. We have to find out the value of V. But one thing which is given is the power of 6 ohm resistance is 0. So we will see what conclusion we can draw from this information. So we know that it is given that power in 6 ohm resistance is 0, and the formula of power is I square R, right? So that means I square R is equals to 0. Now R is not having non-zero value, that means our current is having 0 value. So one conclusion or one result we get from this information is current in the 6 ohm branch is 0 ampere. The current in this branch is 0 ampere. One information we get. Now we'll proceed to our question in finding the value of V. Now first what we will do, now we know the current in this branch. So it is very much advisable, or it is easier to see that it is better to apply KCL here because we already know the value of current in one branch. So we will mark the current in other branches also. So again we have redrawn the circuit and we have marked the current I1. Now you see in this question, I have marked the voltage of this node as V1 and the voltage of this node is V2. But we don't know the value of V1 and V2. We have just marked the value as V1 and V2. And here it is 20 ohm. So it may be possibility that 20 ohm is at higher potential, and so we have marked the current direction as entering inside the node. But it is completely fine even if you go by the thumb rule and always mark the current in leaving direction. That also it's completely fine. Just I have marked because I know the value of this voltage. So I have marked the current because this is the active source, and obviously this V1 voltage, whatever the value it would be having, it is not an active source. It is just some voltage drop in this point. So we have marked the current in this direction, but you can take it in either direction, that is not a problem. So we have marked the current I1, then I2, and we have marked it as I6 because already we are taking the nomenclature for this is I6. So for the easiness of the question, because whenever you are making equations in the questions, two things always keep in mind. First, make the diagram as clear as possible. Second, make the equations as simple as possible. Don't complicate your equations and do not congested your diagram, because sometimes by small mistakes answer comes out to be wrong. After solving 2-3 pages also, in the end you will get wrong answer, and then again when you trace it back you will find some silly mistake you would have done. So always, to avoid those silly mistakes, always make your diagram big and clear, and always make your equations as simple as possible. So with those things in mind, because here we have written our result as I6 equals to 0 ampere, we have taken the current name also as I6. So I6 we have marked it here. Similarly for this node also we have marked the voltage at V2, and here we have taken, because I6 is going in this direction, so what we have marked in the leaving direction for this node, it is entering in this, because we cannot just put both same I6 current in same direction. So whatever it is coming from here, it will flow through this node. So I6 is already marked. I3 and I4 we have marked in the leaving direction. So now we'll apply our KCL at node 1. This is our node 1, and at this node I1 is going into the node, so it is entering the node, so it will be taken as minus I1. I2 and I6 are leaving the node, so it will be taken as positive direction, and that would be equal to 0. This is as per our KCL rule. So minus I1 plus I2 plus I6 is equals to 0. Now we know I6 is 0 as we have already taken out the result. Therefore I1 is equals to I2. So this is our second result. So we'll keep this result for now and we'll apply KCL at our node 2. Here we are seeing I6 is entering the node, so it will be minus I6 plus I3 plus I4. Now I think it will be clear to you, it is getting clear to you that leaving current we are taking in positive and entering current we are taking in negative polarity. So I3 plus I4 minus I6 is equals to 0, then again I6 is 0, so I3 is equals to minus I4. This is the another conclusion which we get from this equation. Now we will find out the value of all the currents I1, I2, I3 and I4. We will take out the values which will come in the terms of V1 and V2, and then we will put them in our equation. So I1 is coming 20 minus V1 divided by 1, that will be our magnitude of I1. I2 will be V1 minus, now this point is ground, this is nothing but ground. So here it is given, this point will be ground. Anyway, you can consider it as ground. If it is not given in the question also, you can take it as ground. So V1 minus 0 divided by J1 ohm, and I6 is not required, and I3 will be V2 minus 0, it is ground, divided by 5, and I4 is V2 minus V divided by 5. So this is what we get the magnitude of current. Here the same thing I have written. I1 is 20 minus V1, so it is 20 minus V1, or if we write it with the phase, it is 20 angle 0 degree minus V1. Similarly, I2 V1 minus 0 divided by J1, will let it be written in the phase form. I3 is V2 minus 0 divided by 5, and I4 is V2 minus V by 5. Now I6 we know 0, but if we want to write the magnitude for it, then what it will be? I6 is V1 minus V2 divided by 6 plus J8, correct? This would be the magnitude of I6. Now we know I6 is equals to 0, so we'll equate this whole value with 0, and with this we'll get the result V1 equals to V2. So now we have one relation between V1 and V2. Now we have all the values, whatever variables we have taken, we get the values of those variables, and we got the relation between those variables as well. So now we'll start putting them in our equation which we have made earlier. So the equation for I1 and I2, which is I1 equals to I2, we'll put in equation 1. So we have got 20 angle 0 degree minus V1 is V1 by J1, or if you take this V1 here, you will be getting V1 J1 plus V1. Taking V1 as common, it will come into the phasor form. Now to make it little bit easier, we'll multiply both side with J1. So both side we have multiplied with J1. J square we know is minus 1, and it will be J1. So it was written as minus J1 because it is much easier to solve question in linear form rather than making it in denominator form or fraction form. So now it has come in the linear form. So now we get the value of V1 as 20 angle 0 degree divided by 1 minus J1, and it would be same as equals to V2. Now putting values of I3 and I4 in equation 2, that is I3 is equals to minus of I4, we get our values as 20 angle 0 degree 1 minus, because we have put the value of V2 here. Now one more thing which we can do is, it is in phasor form right now, we can solve it and make it in normal form. So 20 angle 0 degree is 20 angle 0 degree. This is this is in our complex form. So how to solve our complex form in magnitude and phase? We can write it separately. So magnitude is nothing but under root of real part square plus complex part square. So real part is 1. So under root of 1 square, and complex part is minus 1. Then minus 1 square is again 1. So it is 1 square, which is under root of 2. So we got the magnitude of this. Then how to find phase of it? Phase, now you see 1 minus j. In the quadrant system, if real axis is positive and imaginary axis is negative, then it falls in the fourth quadrant, and in fourth quadrant phase is written as minus tan inverse of imaginary component divided by real component. So minus tan inverse, imaginary is 1, real is 1. So minus tan inverse 1 is angle minus 45 degree. If you have any problem in finding out how to find out the phase, which quadrant, what value will come, I'll explain it later how to find the phase from any complex number. So first, for now we have used this value. Magnitude is very easy to find, under root of both the magnitudes of both the values of our real and complex component. Phase we will see later. So for now the value has come out to be root 2 angle minus 45 degree, that we have written here. So root 2, if you multiply both sides by root 2, it will become 2, and it, when we cancel out, it will become 10. So and multiplied with root 2, so 10 root 2, and this minus angle 45 degree, if it goes on top, it will become plus 45 degree. So angle 0 degree plus angle 45 degree will be plus 45 degree only. So we have got it into much easier form. So now we'll put this value in this equation. So we have put this value in this equation, same equation it is, divided by 5 minus v. So we have put this in this equation, and 5 and 5 is common, so it will be multiplied with 0. 10 root 2, this is common, so it will become 20 root 2 45 degree, and this minus v will go this side. So we will get this value v equals to 20 root 2 angle 45 degree. This is our magnitude and this is our phase. So now you see this question, which seems very complicated and so many equations are required for it, but we have done it in very simple way. We have marked the current first, we have taken out the relation, what all equations, relations and equations can be made, and then we have found the magnitude of it, and then we started putting them in equation one by one, and then we finally got our value of v. So in this manner you should approach any question, then it will be very easy to solve and very quickly it will be solved and your answer would be correct. Now as I told, how to find the phase of any complex number. So first we will draw one coordinate system. How to write phase is also called argument. So how to write argument and phase of complex number, because this will not only come use in other numericals but in other subjects also. In other subjects also you will be having, you have to find the phase of the complex number. So like this you have to find out. So this is our coordinate axis, this axis is our real axis and this axis is our imaginary axis. So if your complex number is, for example, 1 plus j1, so both are positive you are seeing. So both are positive means this is positive and this is positive. So in that case phase is written as tan inverse imaginary divided by real, and while writing this imaginary and real you should only take the magnitude of the complex number, not any sign, because sign we have already considered in selecting the quadrant. So here 1 is positive and j is positive, so we have gone to first. So these signs we have already taken into consideration, not again and again you have to taken, like here if it minus 1 is given, you should not write here minus 1 again. You should only write the values of imaginary and real axis. So here both are 1. So in this case it would be tan inverse 1, that is 45 degree. Now in second quadrant, now you see second example, it is minus 1 plus j1. So real axis is minus, this minus. So minus means this part, and j imaginary axis is positive. So this part it is falling. Our complex number is lying in this quadrant. So in this quadrant what is the value of phase? Phase is 180 degree minus tan inverse imaginary by real. So again imaginary and real we will take 1 and 1, we will not take this sign minus 1, which we have already taken this minus into account while selecting the coordinate. In finding the tan inverse value we will not put this sign. So it will be again 1 and 1, which is 45 degree. So 180 minus 45 degree is 135 degree. Then next is minus 1 minus j1, both are negative means third quadrant, and in third quadrant the phase will be written as 180 plus tan inverse imaginary by real. So again the magnitude is 1 and 1, so it will be coming as tan inverse 1, which is 45 degree. So 180 plus 45 degree is 225 degree, and if it is like 1 minus j1, that is real is positive and j is imaginary is negative, then it is written as minus tan inverse imaginary by real. So imaginary is 1, real is 1 by 1 is 1, tan inverse 1 is 45, and with this minus sign it will be minus 45 degree. So like this you can find out the phase of any complex number. Now we'll move to another question. Before going to the another example, some information we'll see. You have already know these formulas, but again we will just brush up it because it will come in use in our next question. So in any RLC circuit or in any circuit where R, L and C is used, resistor, inductor and capacitance, if current is given, then voltage can be found out by I into R. In with inductor it is find out by L di by dt, and for capacitance it can be find out as 1 by C integration of I dt. Similarly, if voltage is given and we have to find current, then current can be find out as V by R, then I equals to 1 by L V dot dt, and I equals to C dV over dt. Now our next example will take use of these formulas. So the next example says the segment of a circuit is shown in figure. This is a segment of any circuit and the value of VR is 5 volt. So the value of VR is given 5 volt, VC is given 4 sin 2t, and it is asking the value of VL. So this is our question that we have to find out the voltage of the inductor. So first what we will do is, we know that 2 ampere is flowing through it, so we know the current in one branch. So it is easier to find out the value of current in other branch. So we will mark the current in other branch. It is going minus 2 inside. So that means it is minus, if we reverse the direction it will be minus 2 ampere. Here we are taking, because the current is coming from positive to negative, so the current, if we mark it in leaving direction, it will be coming as minus IR. For here positive to negative, for VC we have marked IC, and for here we have marked IL. So applying polarity, any way you can take any, you can take leaving current, you can take entering current, doesn't matter, just follow the sign convention. If you are taking entering current, take it in negative polarity. If you are taking leaving current, take it in positive polarity. It doesn't mean that why we have taken for particular branch in opposite direction in this. It is on you in which direction you want. Just follow the sign convention and you will get the same result. So applying KCL at node N, which is at the center. So this is minus 2 because this current is going inside the node. Then minus R because this current is also going inside the node. Then plus IC because we have marked this current in opposite direction. If it would be wrong, then it will coming in negative sign, but no problem. And IL as leaving current, then IL, that would be equal to 0. Now with Ohm's law we will find the magnitude of IR, IC. IR, we know voltage is given 5 and resistance value is 5, so IR value is 1 ohm. Similarly IC is C dV over dt as we have seen earlier. C value is 1, voltage given is 4 sin 2t, so differentiation of 4 sin 2t is 8 cos 2t. So it will come as 8 cos 2t. So we will put these values in our equation. So it will be minus 2 minus 1 plus 8 cos 2t plus IL. So the only unknown variable in this equation is IL, and from this we get the value of IL as 3 minus 8 cos 2t. But we don't need to have to find out, we don't have to find out the value of IL, we have to find out the value of VL. So we know that the value of VL, if I we know, then the value of VL can be find out by L di over dt. Value of L we know it is 1 Henry. So we'll put this formula that IL is nothing but 1 by L VL by dt. So IL we know 3 minus 8 cos 2t, it is 1 by 1 VL by dt. Differentiating both sides, it is VL and it will come out to be differentiation of 3, which is a constant, and differentiation of constant is 0, and minus d8 cos 2t dt. Now differentiation of 8 cos 2t will be, 2 will come outside and cos t differentiation is minus sin t. So it will come out to be minus 16 sin 2t, minus minus positive. So VL will come out to be 16 sin 2T volt. So this is for this lecture. See you in the next one.